We were reliving earlier in this show how Dan apparently ended your podcast with Bill Burr. It's the last episode ever. So
it's an interesting episode, isn't it? Have you ever heard it?
All right, Bert, we'll welcome you in that way. I'm always happy to see his face. I feel like a lot of people are just made happy by this man's affable energy. His new Netflix stand-up special, Razzle Dazzle, is out now. A friend of the show, Dave Williamson, opens for him, and we root for this guy because he is fun, and your success has been a pleasure to watch. Thank you for making time for us. New movie, The Machine. It's based on his life. It's going to be in theaters May 26th. How surprised are you by the amount of success that you now have in an industry that is really hard to have this kind of success in?
I am more surprised than my dad, and that says a lot. My dad last week or 2 weeks ago, I was at the Emily Center in Tampa, and my dad is the first time he'd ever seen me perform live. And I got a suite for him, and Wade Boggs walked into his suite, and my dad was like, "You know my son?" And then at the end of the night, Derek Brooks showed up. My dad was a big Florida State, big Bucks fan. Derek Brooks shows up and says to my dad, "Can you believe where your son is today?" My dad goes, "I've never seen him before." And Derek Brooks goes, "I was at his first show he ever did in Tallahassee."
Oh, wow.
My dad left and was like, "I don't even know how to talk to you anymore."
He doesn't deserve a look at me, Louie.
Kind of did. I mean, it's a great story.
This happened
It's a
to
great
him,
story.
They're good stories.
First show, Brooks.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you. It's not right what they're doing, Bert, and it's disrespectful. I did want to just talk to you, though, about your dad. Couldn't have believed in you when Rolling Stone was naming you the top partier at the #1 party school in the country. You were a failure to your dad at that point, were you not?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I was in college for 6.5 years. I had no plans on what I wanted to do. And one of my pitches was maybe I'll just go to Aspen. And he's like, "How are you paying for Aspen?" I was like, I thought that was a Wii game.
How long before he came around on the idea of this as a career choice?
He was pretty quick with it. My uncle's really successful politician, lobbyist. And my dad just didn't get any of it. He's like, "I don't know what to tell you." It was almost like I was coming out of the closet. My dad was cool with it. He just didn't want me to bring the dude to the house, you know?
Did they think you were funny? Your family thought you were funny. Did they think that you could make a career out of it?
No. My family still doesn't find me funny.
Is that right?
I swear to God, yeah. I'm the least funny person in my family. My sister Cotty is by far the funniest.
You're the least funny person in your family. That cannot be true.
According to his parents.
Yeah, according to my parents. Me and my dad, we laugh. Like, we're laughers. So, like, we laugh at my sister and my sisters and my mom and my daughters. But I'm definitely not the funniest person in my family.
Where does your comedy come from? Because the family has to be funny, right? And funny had to be encouraged.
I swear to God, this is going to sound like, honestly, old Cuban men. I think growing up in Florida, like Tampa, I went to all-boys Catholic high school, and that energy of an all-boys Catholic high school and the coaches that we had and the sense of humor that you'd have when you go to beach week and one of the dads would stay with you, those laughs, like making guys laugh, that was my energy. So like there in Tallahassee, going to being an ATO up at Florida State, that's where I got my sense of humor. Dude, I took sports so seriously as a kid. I was not funny.
But the Cuban dads, I remember the first time that you and I talked, you pointed out that you loved my dad because all you saw growing up was funny, cartoonish Cuban men.
Dude, I mean, obviously none of them ever spoke politically, or not politically correct, but well, politically correct too, but like without curse words. But yeah, I mean, just the dad, because the boys would do stuff, right? And then we'd come home and the dad would be up and he'd be like, "Hey, what did you guys get into tonight, huh?" And it was this energy of like he would bust balls and then we would bust balls. And yeah, the majority of my sense of humor is Florida based, because all my sense of humor is based out of like all boys Catholic high school and a fraternity up at Florida State. And like basically just sifting off the people I thought were funny and then that's how you find your sense of humor, really.
And when you're taking your shirt off and using your body as comedy, you're going.
That's Florida, bro.
You're going
That's Florida.
maximum
That's
Florida, man.
That's Florida.
When did you decide to start doing that? When was it encouraged? When did that become your signature? The idea that you're up there just throwing your body at the people here in a tight pair of jeans, shirtless.
I was. The jeans have gotten tighter the fat I've gotten. They weren't always tight. My daughter said Baby Walrus needs to move out of skinny jeans. I started doing it just to cheer myself up, because you get on the road and do like a Thursday night and you'd be like, I got a whole weekend ahead of me. This is going to be a long weekend. I'm missing my family. It's not sold out. So I would rip my shirt off and kill a beer to make myself giggle, because I thought it was silly, and to remind myself this should be fun. And then one night I was in Columbus, Ohio. I ripped my shirt off and killed a beer. And then something happened in the room and I forgot to put it back on. And one of the comics I respected was in the back and he was like, bro, you just did a whole hour with your shirt off. So I'm not comfortable wearing a shirt on stage. So I just had to do it shirtless.
And how does this work with comfort with your body? Because not everyone can do that. You're the first to be doing that. Not everyone is comfortable enough with their size to be in front of thousands of people shirtless like that, because it is funny.
It's interesting because I have this reverse body dysmorphia. So like I heard a story, secret time. Obviously I'll tell you, but secret time. I heard a story that Chris Pratt was a fat kid growing up, and that someone told me like he'll always be fat in his head. No matter how great of shape he is, he'll always think of himself as a fat kid. I was in shape as a kid, and so I do not see myself fat at all. Ripped. As a matter of fact, I think in Razzle Dazzle, I look low-key jacked. I think I look better than I've ever looked. My shoulders, dude, look at my shoulders.
You are jacked. Oh, yeah. You got some cuts right there. You see it there?
I mean,
does have traps.
Good. I feel great about my body.
The new Netflix stand-up special, Razzle Dazzle.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Bert, stop making those
Never show
faces.
your belly button.
Yes.
Do that thing where you're
Let's increase your female viewers.
make your boobs move.
This is a body you can get.
Razzle Dazzle is the stand-up special. How old would you have to be? What is the age if I came up to you and said, Bert, you're not going to believe this, but the new movie, Machine, it's in theaters in May, and Razzle Dazzle, a Netflix special, is happening. At what point in your career, at what age would you have said, yeah, that's a possible dream?
Oh, 50? Where I am. I didn't think any of that was going to happen. Listen, I got to be dead honest with you. I shot Razzle Dazzle in November, and I'm used to the Netflix specials, but with the Machine movie, that was sitting on a shelf. They weren't doing anything with it, and they weren't going to release it. And it wasn't until I leaked it on Rogan that it got life. And so ever since it's got life, now it's got real life, and so I didn't think the movie was ever going to come out.
Dan, Bert's got me feeling confident. You know what? I'm going to join you, Bert, taking the shirt off.
Wow.
I love it.
Well, I'm going to have to do it, too.
I, too, was ripped when I was younger, Bert.
To do it.
Let's all be. Come on, bros.
Oh, man.
I don't really want to do
Round the
this,
horn.
but,
I did
Dude,
not-
you're looking good.
The Mano Lantern.
Thank you.
okay.
Oh, my
Dan's
God.
doing it too. Dano!
Years, take the
uncomfortable.
top off.
Oh, jeez.
All right, you are allowing us to be more comfortable with our physical
Okay.
appearances.
I have to take off my nipple stickers.
He's a pioneer and an icon.
Oh, look at
Perfectly
Dano.
haired.
Yeah.
Perfectly
Mr.
haired.
Nipple.
Oh,
Right there.
Perfectly
do
I'm
this
sorry.
to
And this shirt,
everybody.
I don't know. It's like a
Really cold in
routine.
here.
Yeah,
It's
it
reverse
is
body
cold in
dysmorphia.
here.
Yeah.
It's a reverse
It's a
body
really
dysmorphia
weird
thing.
time for Jessica to come
We
back
are-
into
yeah, I
the
was
room.
like, Jessica,
Perfectly
do
haired
not walk in
gentleman.
here.
Hey, Jess.
You like it, Bert?
Get out.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Why
So
are
are
you
you.
massaging?
Andrew Luck making an
It's
appearance
cold.
there. Bert, I do want to know when you were partying, the top partier at the #1 party school in the country. What did that look like?
You're looking at
Marijuana in the afternoon,
Yeah.
around 4. Simpsons, fried chicken, and a lot of cocktails up until about 2 in.morning. Then back to my place. Goat Campbell around 3 in.morning. Joint set on the Seminole Head,
I love you.
and not a lot of sex, just dudes.
The best 6.5 years of your life, Bert.
How much public nudity was there?
An aggressive amount. This is back before This is back before that was considered assault.
You can't do that. You shouldn't be. Publicly nude is probably a bad idea, but this was a different time.
I'm feeling assaulted right now in this.
I took a dump on a pizza box to win an election. Like I was totally naked. Like this is back when that was called provoking.
That is a great sentence. I took a dump on a pizza box to win an election.
By a landslide. I won by a landslide.
I mean, that was Trump's platform.
What can you tell me about being moved performing in front of so many people? Because the crowds now where you gather are enormous. They surprise me even as funny as you are.
I'm telling you, I had a real moment in Boston. I had a real moment in Tampa at Emily, but I had a real moment in Boston when I walked in, and there's this old guy that's been working at the Garden forever, and I walk into my underwear, and he goes, "You sold it to the ceiling, kid. You sold it to the ceiling." And then I got a standing ovation, and I started crying. I was like, boom! It caught me off guard. Same thing happened in Tampa. Same thing happened in Orlando. I never expected any of this, man. At 44, I was fired from Travel Channel. My wife wanted to get a vasectomy. We were tearing down our house to rebuild it. I was nowhere. I got kicked off Funny or Die tour. I was making $2,000 a week on Funny or Die. Tom was making $20,000 a night, and I was like, that's my life. I got to accept it. I never thought any of this would happen.
The podcast with Bill Burr. That wasn't really.
You.
No, that wasn't.
ended
That was
it.
no,
You.
no, because it didn't. What, is that why it ended? That can't be why it ended, Bert.
Please say it did. Please say it was. Please say it was.
Leaning back helps, I feel like.
I wish I
I'm gonna
could-
take.
I wish
Yeah,
I
I gotta
could
lean
say
back.
that.
I gotta lean back.
So you're serious? You invite me on, and we blindside Bill Burr during a barbecue, and he was mad about it, and that's it. It ended a popular podcast.
I thought it would go so much better. He was. You know what's so funny is it was the second to last time I've spoken to Bill.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Ended a friendship.
Ended a friendship.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
And so I haven't. And so it was. I think it was probably more. I don't know what happened.
Bert, I went in knowing do not provoke Bill Burr, do not provoke a comedian. It will go very poorly for you. I spent the entire interview backpedaling, but he got very angry off the top about the idea that Boston might have some racist tendencies.
He was extremely ornery.
But isn't he always?
It was a side of Bill. Like I've known Bill for a long time. I've been friends with Bill for probably 20 years, 20 plus years. I'll always be friends with Bill. We have not talked in a while, but I'll always be friends with Bill. I love Bill. I respect him. But man, that was a ornery interview. Like I think what was happening was he was grilling out with his family and forgot that we had a podcast. And so when he came in and had to miss the grillings, I think that's what's happened. I don't know exactly, but I know that I was in Serbia. I kept cutting out, and I'd come back in, and hello.
That was Roy walking into the room. I stopped you dead. I don't know why Bert
He walked in like Bobby Shmurda in a prison shower.
How you guys doing?
Why did you look at why did Roy stop you in your tracks like that being shirtless?
He stopped and just stared at me like I was in the wrong shower stall.
Continue, please.
But yeah, I think that was it. And then I think that I was cutting in and out, and I'd cut back, and I jump in at wrong times, and I was like, I just should shut up. And then I was in Serbia. I was finishing the movie. We didn't talk obviously then, and then when we got back, the podcast ended. He just didn't have enough time. He didn't have time for it. I don't think it was you. I don't think it was you. I think it had to be me.
I don't believe you. The Machine, the new movie, is again based.
What an honor! What a title, though! What a title!
I mean,
Albert
They call him the
Pujols.
podcast killer.
can you tell people who do not know why your life is interesting, why The Machine should be in theaters? For the people who don't know the story, because it is a bit crazy, tell them why The Machine is something they should be watching.
When I was 22 years old, I got involved with the Russian mafia, which should lead you enough interested into the story. We robbed a train together. We ran a pool hall scam. We stole a boat. and I got away with it. And so it's a story I told on Rogan, and it's what's crazy with the interesting part of the story. And I've heard this story a lot. The most interesting part of the story is the reason it goes viral. December 27th, I posted on Facebook, and I go to a show. I come back and I look and I see that it's going viral. It's got 3 million views. I'm like, why is this going on? My wife goes, you should read the comments. And the first comment under mine, the one that everyone's commenting on, was left by a woman named Kristen Hodgson. And her comment read, "This story is 100% true. Bert, I was in Bert's Russian class. I was on this trip. This story is 100% true. He robbed us." And then tagged all my classmates in it. And then they commented and posted pictures. And so all of a sudden the story that people had heard was like, oh, here's a picture of Bert and Igor arm wrestling. Here's a picture of Bert and Igor drinking. Here's a picture of Bert the day he got away from robbing the train. And so and so that, I think that's what made it go viral. But it's a good story. It's a 12-minute story, and that story changed my life.
Bert, I'm curious, the original version of what ended up being Van Wilder, the script was optioned by Oliver Stone. Have you ever thought about what that movie would have looked like if it were an Oliver Stone movie?
Oh, no, I haven't. No. I mean, it's funny, I ran into Oliver Stone at a party. I was shirtless, I was drunk, and I had $2,200 in fresh ones on me. And I was like, when I was 22 years old, when I was 26 years old, you optioned the rights to my life, and it changed my life. I just want to thank you. I wouldn't be here today. Like, I'm really happy. I have a happy marriage and he just goes, wait, what? It was way too much for him. And he was like, and then obviously he's not going to remember an option 23, 25 years ago that was done by someone in his company. But that was my ticket. That was my ticket. I wrote a script for it. I submitted it. It was called The Undergraduates, that I thought was going to be a badass movie. And then obviously just all went away. And, you know, from what I hear, and I don't want to ever take credit for anyone's success ever. I did nothing with that movie. I have nothing to do with that movie. It's a very cool little footnote in my life, I think. But yeah.
How bad were you?
What do you mean?
I mean, you're Russian mafia.
Robbing a train.
Not at all. I'm like a drunk Forrest Gump. Like I get into situations that I'm in over my head. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, that is the story of my life. Like the time I thought Will Smith wanted to have sex with me, it's just me getting in over my head.
Yeah.
Go on.
I thought. So, okay, so I'm 6 months into comedy, and Will Smith's people discover me, and they're like, "Hey man, we want to do a television deal. We think Will would like you, but you got to meet him." So I was like, "Okay." So they send me up to this recording factory, like the studio, and there's 2 folding chairs in the middle of a dance hall, like a dance room. And they go, "Sit there, we'll be in a second." They just need him he needs to like you in order to get it. And it was $125,000. So I was like, done. First of all, I love hip hop, right? I love hip hop, and I love Will Smith and Tupac. Biggie had just gotten shot. I mean, all this is going on around this time. And I'm like, I'm going to get this guy to love me. He sits down. I'm a whirlwind of personality. Dude, I love hip hop. I love Jada. I love you. I love black people. You're black. I love I'm like hammering this guy. We talked for 35 minutes, and he just looks at me and goes, "I like you." I go, "I like you." He goes, "What are you doing tonight?" And I go, "I don't know." And he goes, "Let's go to the movies." I go, "Cool." And then we leave. So I call my dad. My dad's a regular dude. He goes, "How did it go?" I go, "It went great." He goes, "Tell me." I said, "We're going to the movies." My dad's like, "On a date?" I go, "No, like, I don't know." He goes, "Who else?" I go, "Just me and him." And he goes, "Oh, buddy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. This is called the casting couch. What happens is these Hollywood stars have had sex with so many women that they're bored with having sex with women. The only thing that turns them on is the look on a young boy's face as they turn them into a gay guy." And I went, "What?" I go, "Dad, that's impossible." He goes, No, I heard about it. I'm telling you." I go, "Dad, that's impossible." He goes, let me ask you a question. What's more likely? The fact that you're so talented that in 6 months of doing stand-up, the biggest movie star in the world wants to make a TV show about you, or that he's tired of having sex with women and I want to have sex with you. I'm like, I'm screwed. He's like, "Yeah."
Did you go to the movie afraid that you were going to have to ward off his advances?
I showed up. I showed up. It wasn't even a movie theater. It was at Planet Hollywood, which is even weirder. And I'm like, wait, what celebrities go to Planet Hollywood? Where is the movie theater in Planet Hollywood? So I'm sitting in the waiting room. Dude, 6'7", black guy comes in, sticks his head, and he goes, yo, you Bert? I go, yeah. And he goes, I'm Charlie Mack. I was like, oh, I'm going to have sex with this guy, too. Oh, my God, this is going to be a long night. I go downstairs. There's a folding room, the size of a hotel room, a room of folding with curtains all around it, and there's 10 black dudes in there. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be a long night. I got these 10 black guys. I got Charlie Mack. I got Will Smith. I'm sure he's bringing Jazzy Jeff. That's 13 dudes. So I just sat there, and then Will walked in with Jazzy Jeff. I swear to God, And he's like, yo, guys, this is the guy I was telling you about. And they all look at me like, oh, okay. And they start walking towards me. I'm like, all right, here we go. It's game time. and then the curtains open up behind me, and there's a private movie theater. And Will goes, grab us 2 seats. Me and Jazzy will sit next to each other, and I'll get a shrimp. What do you want to drink? And we had Long Island iced teas, and we watched American Pie. And then at the end of the movie, it's a great movie. Obviously, it's a great movie. At the end of the movie, the lights come on, and he goes, so what'd you think? I said, it's a great movie. And he goes, no, about the room. I go, it's very nice. And he goes, no, about the guys in the room. I go, the guys in the room? He's like, yeah, what did you think? And I was like, I don't know. They're black? And he goes, hey, man, you said you were a hip-hop fan. That's Kool Moe D. Oh, wow. That's Biz Markie. That's Big Daddy Kane. Oh, man. And he walked, and I was like, no. I could have had sex with Biz Markie.
The new Netflix stand-up special, Razzle Dazzle, is out now. What do you love about it, Bert? Why should people be watching this beyond you being great at this and affable and just fun to listen to?
I think I've gotten better every special, and I've challenged myself. And I take a page out of Bill Burr's book of how he does stand up. He always brings something new. I think my act outs are way better. I think my characters, my interaction between characters, between me and my daughter or me and my wife, have gotten, I think, from doing the movie, my stage presence and my behaviors on stage are funnier and better. I worked on that, but more importantly, I think I really structured this hour. I love the way I structured this hour. I've got fun stories about being a parent. I wouldn't say political stories, but I have current event topics that I talk about. And I think my closer is, I wish I hadn't used my closer and I kept it for this next tour, because it might be one of my favorite bits I ever did. What
were your thoughts on the pressure that was on Chris Rock in his Netflix special?
I'm out. I couldn't do it. That guy's the greatest. You could not do a live show with me. I shoot 4 specials. I shoot 4 shows to get 1 special. We'll use the majority of one, but we'll tweak it with better stuff from each. Dude, he did 1 show. I just for perspective, I did a show one time. I did a special taping, and on the second show, I go, that was amazing. And Leanne goes, you have mustard on your pants. I go, what? She goes, yeah. I said, well, how would I have mustard on my pants? She goes, you had hot dogs in between sets. And I was like, why wouldn't someone stop me? I mean, I did, and when we did Razzle Dazzle, in the middle of one of them, I had a drink and I had to take a piss, and so I went over to the side and peed in a cup off the side of the stage in the middle of the show. I mean, I can't look. When I do a live show, they're live, they're fun, they're spontaneous. I can make it all happen. But when I'm doing a special, that is material I have worked on, rehearsed, and I want it presented a certain way. And I could not do what he did. He's the next level.
How many could do it? I didn't think it was a great special, but I did think the pressure was extraordinary, and it was hard for it to be a great special for anybody.
It was the pressure was insurmountable. Chappelle could do it. Burr could probably do it. That's it. Louis did it. Louis just did it in Madison Square Garden. I bet Gaffigan could do it. Segura can't do it.
It's a short list. I thought to myself, God Almighty, he must be scared, even though he's one of the best. He must be scared.
It's the reason I think if you get offered Saturday Night Live to host, you got to say yes. I don't think I'd want to do it. Like, the pressure would be insane to deliver a monologue in front of America live to not like just I don't know like obviously you have to take the gig, right? Obviously you want that in your career, but I've watched people do it and I go, I don't know if I could handle that pressure.
This is the height of success, a movie, Razzle Dazzle, out now on Netflix. But what do you regard as the saddest venue that you have played? We talked to the late Bob Saget about being in Alaska, a very small restaurant/strip club, and evidently the women came out with pie tins around their breasts and actual matches just representing candles. What represents the furthest away you've been from this, the dream?
I did a college one time. In a classroom, in an actual classroom, and they were sitting in desks, and it was 8 kids. And then they asked me to stand on the teacher's desk like Robin Williams in that Teacher My Teacher, Master My Master, or whatever.
Is it Dead Poet
Society?
Dead Poet Society, and it was more depressing than the end of Robin Williams' life. It was
no,
it
Bert,
was bad, man.
Bert.
I would have taken that way out to get out of that gig. My God.
Did you kill though? Did you kill the room?
No, I did horrible. There was a gender study major who did not find any of my jokes about my daughters or my wife funny and proceeded to give me a back and forth.
Arguing with you. Look at him. He's still hurt by it. The new Netflix special, Razzle Dazzle, is out now. He's very funny, great, fun to talk to. Thank you, sir. Always appreciate your time. Apologize on my behalf to all the people broken by the economy that was that podcast with Bill Burr that I ruined.
Nope. It's our history, and we love our history. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for having me on. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Bert.
Yeah, Bert.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Better Man.